Hello, good afternoon for everyone in my channel and on Facebook. So I'm gonna wait for a little bit for people to join us as well. But I would like to introduce my special guest today in my live chat. We actually met a long time, at least 4 years ago. I remember we were in an ambulance when we visited the hospital for appointments. And I'm absolutely thrilled. I met this beautiful, amazing woman because, well, we encouraged us, each other so much in the beginning as well, all the time. So please welcome Clare Turner in my.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm just sitting in the garden, actually. I'm enjoying the sun. It's really beautiful here. Sorry, my neighbour's just in the lawn, so forgive him, but yeah, that's fine. But yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm really having a nice time at the moment, so yeah.
Good. Yeah, the weather is good today as well. It's really hot, so yeah, it's good to be outside. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay, I think, shall we wait a little bit longer or, because, well, I think we could start it because people will be able to watch it after as well. It's going to be on Facebook forever. So, yeah, everyone can watch it after, so it's fine. Yeah. So please, tell me about, if you would like to, about what happened to you and, so what happened to you? Why are we talking together?
Yeah, so about 5 years ago, I was involved in a really serious accident on London Bridge. I was coming home from a sort of party after work for a colleague at work's 60th, and I had been out. I had been out drinking, but it was like kind of the way I describe it. I always describe it. It was a perfect storm. In some ways, I believe it was a destiny for me for what happened that night. I walked part of the way home to catch my night bus, and I was waiting at a bus stop, and a bus was coming along, and I didn't realise how fast he was coming, and I didn't step off the pavement, but I flagged the bus down, and he pulled me under the bus, and I was run over by a double-decker bus. To this day, the bus driver was never prosecuted, even though he was speeding, and he didn't stop. He failed to stop, so he knew that something had happened because he stopped further down the road, but he drove off and left me to die. And in that moment, I saw my life flash before my eyes, and I wouldn't put that on anyone, not on my worst enemy, because I had to shout for help. And if that person hadn't helped me, that would have been the end of my life, basically. So I was taken to hospital in the middle of the night, and I can't remember much, but I remember waking up in hospital and having to give my next of kin. Then it was a recovery after that. I had a 24-hour surgery to reconstruct my foot. I had an external FIXATOR, and it was something that I look at that has given me so much wisdom about life and has helped me become more of the person that I should be. And I can't really change it. Wouldn't want to change it, but yeah, it's been a long road since that night. So.
I see. Yes, I absolutely understand. And I'm just asking for the viewers because I was in the same situation, very similar. And but I would just ask, where were you treated? Which hospital? Was it in London?
Yeah, so I was taken to the Royal London Hospital, which is in Whitechapel. Thankfully, I was taken. I was minutes away from the hospital, from the scene of the accident. They had a state-of-the-art trauma centre there, and I think if I wasn't taken to that hospital, or I wasn't seen to as quickly as I was, then my story would be completely different. I was given like world-class care, and for that I'm just internally grateful to the NHS. You know, we've all clapped for the NHS, like every week since this pandemic that we've all been through. But for me, on a personal level, if it wasn't for the NHS and for the expertise, I literally wouldn't be able to walk. I'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. And it's not just the expertise at the higher level, like the consultants and the surgeons, down to like the nurses and everybody in that hospital. They help me like in ways that like you just can't put into words. They come from somewhere else. It's like they have a calling, and I just honestly I owe my life to them. I really do.
Oh, this is what I cannot talk about it.
Well, yeah, it's just the truth. These are the unsung heroes, and you know they do it day in, day out, and you know like they don't judge you. You know, like it would be easy to say like it was my fault that I was there on my own in the middle of the night, like you know, had been drinking, but they didn't judge. They gave me the care, and and like you know they treat you as a human being, and that's so important. So yeah, thanks to everybody in that hospital, and thanks to the whole of the NHS. I think that we should be clapping every week for those guys.
Every week. Yes. Well, I always, when I like do exercises on my legs and going to dancing and stuff, after I always go and then I go home, take a shower, and put cream on my legs, and I'm always like, thank you very much. I always thank for them and for God as well that I'm still here. Yes. Because if probably if they didn't take me to Royal London Hospital, I wouldn't be here. So it's a really, really good treatment there. Yes. And how long was your recovery? Like, counting from you got the external fixator. How long was it on your leg?
So I went into hospital on a Thursday night, and it was not until I think the Tuesday that I'd come out of all the surgery. I went in for 3 rounds of surgery. They put the external fixator on. That was one of the first things that one of the first stages of the surgery that I had. I had a external fixator, and it was screwed into my leg, my calf, and my foot. And I had that for about 2 months. So I was in hospital for just over a month, and then I mean, on one flip side, I think I was discharged quite early, but there's such a push for beds in the hospital that you know, like if you are recovering and you're looking like you're going to continue to recover in the same way, then they have to give up the bed for someone else. So I left I left the hospital after about a month. But I was still in outpatients, so I was going to the hospital pretty much every day anyway. And I had my external fixator taken out about 2 months after 2 months after the accident, and I had it taken out in outpatients, which surprised people sometimes. So I had only had gas and air. I didn't have any other painkiller. And they literally pulled, I know everybody who has external fixators are like, what? Like you didn't have any other? No, they just literally pulled out these pins from my legs, but I didn't feel anything. So I kind of felt like a sensation, but I had so much gas in there that I didn't feel anything. So yeah.
I didn't know they just removed it without any surgery and stuff.
I know, it wasn't surgery that...
I had general anesthetic when they removed mine, so yeah.
Well, they gave me the option. I think they said, look, you can have it, we can do it like in outpatients for you now. And I thought, well, or they said, oh, we'll put you in for like to go under and get it taken out. And I just thought, I just want it out straight away. So yeah, just take it out now. But then I think like I think you'll agree, Mirjam, that like during your recovery, you're kind of a little bit like on your own planet. You're not really thinking straight sometimes. So like that was a mad decision for me. I just said, yeah, take it out. And I was in like, you know, on the ward, like breathing in gas and air, and someone's just come out and they've unscrewed these like metal pins from my legs and pulled it out. So yeah, it was mad.
So brave,
yeah.
Yeah, and well, about the recovery, okay, they removed the external fixator, but well, I would ask you as an usual person or as a dancer, because it's a different thing as well, because well, you can walk on your leg after the first year and stuff, but if you want to do something more and things, then So that's why I'm asking, because as we know, you are a former ballet dancer as well. So that's how our road actually passed somehow. And this is my question. So how did you recover as a dancer?
Well, I think like like I said, I was in hospital for a month, and then I had a fixator and a crutch and so forth for about 2 to 3 months after the accident. And I think like I really was fortunate in the fact that like I'd only had my right foot that was the main injury from the accident. So I think what really helped me, and I wouldn't dismiss anybody else's beliefs on anything, but it worked for me, and that's all I can say is like I don't push my faiths on to anyone or anything like that, but I read a lot of literature about like how you can harness your mind to be a tool, if you like. And I read Louise Hay, who was an incredible woman who tells you how you can heal your life, through the thoughts that you think. And I read Dwayne Dyer. I did mindfulness, you name it, a lot. I listened to The Secret, the law of attraction, and I was not going to let this injury stop me. And I truly believe that the power of the mind really helped me through my recovery process and my positive thinking. I looked in the mirror every day and I said to myself, I'm healing, I am healing, I'm getting back from this. And I think that worked. And for me, it's not a pseudoscience. It's absolutely real that this works. So I was really lucky with that. And then also whatever the doctors and the physiotherapists told me, I listened to them. I took their advice. I did the exercises that they gave me. I did everything. I pushed myself, and I think that really helped my recovery. So after 6 months, I went back to work. And looking back at it in hindsight, I think I went back to work too quickly. But I was I think my physical recovery, functionally, I got back on my feet really, really quickly. But I think in a sense of who I am, I think it took a long time for me to adjust mentally from the accident. I think it took a lot longer, years, I'm saying, because I was in this kind of, I'd say for about 2-3 years after my accident, I was in a not direct denial, but I was in a denial. I was I didn't want this accident to stop me from achieving what I always wanted to achieve in life anyway. So I just went full throttle, and I wanted to do all the things that I had wanted to do before my accident, and I did achieve them. But the thing that I found in the last 2 years is that when my accident happened, it didn't change who I am. I'm exactly the same person, but it took me on another kind of route in life. I kind of took another little direction, and it's made me a richer person. And, I'm not so caught up in the smaller things in life, the things that are less important. Things that are important to me now are my family and my friends and the people that are around me, and the simple joys of life, like sitting in a garden. That's much more important to me than having the big job and the status and doing these things that were really important to me at one time. So I think it's only been in the last couple of years that I can actually truly say that I'm over this accident, because it took like six months to a year for me to physically heal from the accident, but it took at least 3 years to get over it mentally. So.
Yeah, actually, I experienced the same. After, I would say now I'm okay. But after the last surgery, I was still struggling to find myself for 1 year at least, what to do and stuff. And exactly 1 year ago, I said, okay, so I'm going to do this and this and this. And then I had a clear understanding what I want to do in life. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. About the recovery. How did you go through all these day-to-day tasks? What would you recommend to people to go through this recovery smoother and stuff? I mean, physically, because the mindset is very important, but also the exercises and stuff. Yeah.
I think I think what really helped me was the other thing that she didn't mention was like about a year before the accident, I was really struggling with my mind. Anyway, I was really happy. I had everything. You know, I was living the life. I had the job. I, you know, had the social life. I was at all the parties. You know, I was living the life. You know, but there was always something bugging me. I was always like questioning, like my mind was racing, or like, you know, I was having dips of depression or something because I wasn't quite happy. And I met this inspiring man at my workplace at the time, about a year before my accident, and he's passed on now. He passed on in 2017, but I would never forget this man. He was like, the only way I remember him, he was like an angel in my life, because he planted a seed in my mind that has just grown, and it continues to grow every day. And he kind of helped me understand my mind, and he told me that my thoughts don't control me. They're just thoughts that pass in your, you know, that pass through your mind. They don't necessarily mean that's how it is. You might just be thinking a thought. So, and he also started to teach me mindfulness and meditation, which is random, because if you met the guy, you'd think this is like some really hard knock guy from Bermondsey in South London. He's like, you know, a really tough guy, but then he was like this inner guru, and he sort of like helped me understand that, you know, slow your mind down, and you can be more peaceful with yourself. And so I'd already started meditation like about a year before my accident, so that really helped me, because I would meditate at least once a day, and it would just be a 10-15 minute meditation, but it would help relax my mind, and it just means that you're in a more peaceful kind of state of being. And so that was one of the main things that that helped me, and that has gone on now to me practicing Buddhism, the same Buddhism that Tina Turner practices, actually, because I've obviously had a few low patches since my accident, yes, it's SGI Buddhism, which is a modern Buddhism for the Western world, really, and it's really helped me, because when I practice Buddhism, it is in a way meditation, and it is practicing like the law of attraction, because you don't pray to a god, you pray to yourself. If you want something in your life, or you want to make a change in your life, what Buddhism teaches is that you have the power to do that yourself. So I've practiced that. So for me, that works. I mean, if I was giving anyone advice, I'd say, look, you know, if you're going through a really difficult patch in your life, if you're going through illness or trauma, then you need to take 10 minutes a day to find that inner peace inside of you. And it's just sowing a seed to giving yourself a healthier mind and a healthier being. So that was really important for me. The other thing was like with I know this is again just what worked for me, but because I went back to work so quickly, I pushed myself through barriers that I probably wouldn't have pushed myself through if I hadn't have done that. You know, I was on my feet, I was having to go to work, and yeah, it wasn't easy, and it might not have been the right thing to have done at the time, but it meant that I had to get going. I had to get back to normal. And I didn't stay in that job that I returned to, because I had changed as a person, and so had the workplace after this accident. You know, it wasn't right for me. But then I went out and I've got a job waitressing, so I was on my feet the whole time. So I think these things kind of pushed my recovery, and in the long run have helped tremendously. I wanted to get back to ballet as well, because, you know, ballet was so important to me, not so much professionally, but for like physically, and I really enjoyed doing it. It was like, you know, my personal time during a week. I'd go to my ballet class and I loved it. I had up in Bond Street in London, I would go to the Dance Works just off Bond Street, and I loved my ballet class. I loved seeing my friends there and stuff. So I wanted to get back to that as soon as possible. And when I went back, I had already told my dance teacher that I'd had this accident when I was in hospital. I think I sent her a message or something and said, you know, I've had a terrible accident. So when I returned a year later, and it was pretty much bang on a year later, she was like, oh my God, it was you. I didn't know who it was, because like it was just this message out of the blue. And she was like, you know, what happened? And the thing is with dance is that people don't realize that we have to understand our body so well. We have to listen to our body, and we have to have, you know, if we shut our eyes, we've got to be able to balance on one foot and stuff like that. So we have an inner sense of physicality that sometimes other people might not. I mean, like we all do, but we have to tune into that a lot. And I think my ballet teacher really enjoyed having me back in my class and watching me progress, because we as dancers, we always have injuries and things that pop up, and we have to like really accept our body and listen to our body to get through those times. So yeah, that was why, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yes, and about the pain management, I would ask as well. So, how long did you had pain, or do you still have that pain in your leg?
Well, yeah, I mean, when I first woke up in hospital on the night of my accident, like, I can't tell you. I've tried telling people, like, people say, oh, was it really painful and blah blah. I was like, you know what? When I woke up on that hospital bed in hospital, I honestly, the pain, I can't even put it into words. If I could, I can't even imagine what that pain was like again for myself, because the pain was so bad. It was like beating my own heart. I felt like I was like literally fighting against this pain to keep myself alive. It was horrendous, and pain like that is like no other. So that was like the pain that I hope to never feel again. But the pain after, I think, obviously you got the emotional pain, which was like when they first took my cast off and I looked at my foot, I could not stop crying. I was in such a hole, because it was just like I couldn't, my brain couldn't understand what had happened to my foot. And that pain was, emotional pain is far greater than any physical pain. But yeah, I think the physical pain after the accident, I think it was, I mean, obviously we had painkillers and medication, but I think it was just a belief that it wasn't going to be forever. And I think that I just kind of, in some way, like, managed the pain by taking my like meditation and taking my head out of that like place that I was in. So yeah, I think that was mainly it. And I had a good support network at the time. I had a fantastic family and friends who were just there for me the whole time. So I have to thank them as well, because without them I wouldn't be where I am either. So they were really important to me. And yeah, I think the hardest, one of the hardest things was the worry. Like, you're really worried about, like, if you did something wrong, or if there was something, like, because you wanted just the best chance at healing from that, but you also you got to kind of live as well. I mean, I'd love a glass of wine and that sort of thing. So it was important to kind of kick back and just like chill out, like, So, and yeah.
Yes. So I'm just checking what questions I could ask you. Yes, but when you mentioned that you went back to Bali and stuff, but I was going to ask you, do you feel like a major difference? How was your body and now?
Physically, again, I was on the fortunate side. Physically and functionally, my foot is pretty much at 100%. Like, I can do pretty much everything that I could do before the accident. But I do get a bit of pain in the arch under my foot. So, like, I have to wear a little kind of insole, support to, because otherwise my foot would just flatten. But I think the hardest thing for me, and it's something that I've just had to accept, is that my foot is, to look at, it's deformed. If I could pull it up here and show you,
Yeah, well,
shall I do that?
Please, yes.
Well, let's see if I can do this with some dignity here.
Okay,
So I think the biggest, this is the biggest. See, if I lift that up, you can see that that my foot is not normal. Like, it's a lot bigger than a normal foot, and sometimes it will swell up, and sometimes it will get smaller. So it can change, but even when it's at its smallest, it's not the normal size of a normal foot. So I really struggle in getting footwear, and I can't wear normal ballet shoes. So thankfully my teacher was really supportive to me, and I was able to wear socks and just do exercises that didn't require ballet shoes. So in that respect, fine. But on a day-to-day basis, I think people don't understand how it is. Even if you have wide feet or large or small size shoes, you still have this unlimited amount of shoes that you can buy. Like out of like 400, 500 pairs of shoes, I could probably buy one pair of shoes that would fit me, and they probably wouldn't be the ones that I would want. So so I think it's a really tough thing. I think even when I was about a few years ago, I popped into a shoemaker who actually specialised in making special shoes for people like me, and he told me it's going to a pair of shoes would cost like, I can't remember how many £1,000, and I was like, that's not even an option for me. So I just have to kind of live with that. But the thing is, like, you know, and I've had to accept this again. Like, you know, I was walking with my my boyfriend Mark. We were walking around a lake in where I live in Yorkshire, and this is just an example of what I have to deal with. Like, someone was just like literally staring at me, and I wanted to turn around and say, do you want a closer look? Because you're not realizing that you're staring at me. And you know what? How would you like it if you were in my position and you were staring at me? And I think I will get the confidence to turn around to someone and say, look, just, you know, maybe it's not their fault. Maybe it's like they're just like literally looking. But, you know, like I might just sort of say, look, I went under a bus, you know, this is like, I've had to live with this for the rest of my life, you know, so I think that's really difficult as well. But it just reminded me as well, I was practicing a lot of yoga when I was before the accident, and I had this fantastic yoga teacher, and she's called Brenda, and she's just brilliant. She practices yoga, South Bank yoga on the South Bank, and she gave me so many free lessons. She was an absolutely amazing woman. She practices Iyengar yoga, and I have to shout out to her as well, because honestly, without her as well, I don't think I would have got to where I am as well. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but what you said that people are staring at your legs, I want to say something about this, because I've got my both legs, and they are like, you can see the discrepancy. So it doesn't look like a normal leg. On my left leg, it's kind of like yours, yeah. And then the right one, I just had big scars, so it's different. But when I'm dancing, it's easy, because with the costume I can cover it, and actually no one is checking the legs, you know. But my friends actually told me a couple of years ago that, Mirjam, when are you gonna be able to go to the street without like long leggings or long wear, you know, long skirts or anything like this? And the thing is, this is what you said as well. I'm not concerned about that. Oh my God, my leg looks like this, because
You've accepted it.
I accepted it, exactly, and I'm fine with it, and I love my body. But because of others, because some, like when for example, I was in Egypt, and people, they were staring at my legs on the beach, and it was like annoying for me, obviously. But then once I remember, because I used to work in Oxo Tower in a Harbonicos restaurant, and I remember I was in the reception, and some woman came, like left the bar, and it passed through me, and she was like, I'm telling you, she's got like her big injury as well, probably big accident, and she didn't have her right or left, I don't know which one, but the lower limb, she didn't have meat on it or any muscle, nothing, just
bone.
Just bone. And then she was with the makeup, with the short clothes and stuff, and I wanted to tell her and hug her, like, I admire you for your confidence and stuff, because it's not about, most of the time, it's not about the injured people, it's other people, what they think about how it looks.
100%. But then I think there comes a point where you're just like, to hell with it, like I'm just gonna be the person that I am. And I think that's like it's like, you know, more about like just being who you are, and if someone doesn't like you for it, someone doesn't like you for it. You can't please everyone. But yeah, I think people are more accepting now anyway, in a way, but you're still going to get the few who are like, they treat you differently because you've got something wrong with you, or, you know, and that's just the way people are. But it's not about, it's about them. I kind of sympathize with them. If anything, I pity them because their mind must be, you know,
so narrow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes. Well, I've got the last question, but if you want to say something as well, you are more than welcome. And well, the last one is that what would you advise the people in a similar situation, what they can do? Like, probably it's about like mentally things, because I think you need to have a positive mindset to go through this. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, I think someone said to me, when a physiotherapist said to me, and, you know, it didn't really mean anything at the time, but it planted a kind of seed. She said, I said, look, I really struggled with why me? Why did this happen to me? Because I was like, you know, I was the same person I am now. I know I'm a good person. I do good by everybody. I see the best in everything. I try and live life to the best, and etc., etc. I thought, why did this happen to me? Why didn't it happen to that really horrible person? Or why didn't it? And the way I just kind of see it is that, why not me? Because it happened to me through my understanding and my belief, and that's how I understand it. It happened to me for a reason, and I now have used it as a tool to like make myself a better person and enjoy life even more. Like this glass of water tastes so much better than it would ever have done before my accident. You know, I can like communicate with people in a different way. I can see more to life than there is, and you know, that is a gift that I would never replace. And so I think for anyone who's having something like this, whatever it may be, whether it's an injury, whether it's a really stressful period in your life, you got to turn that experience into something that was positive, and know that from that dark time, like, it was so bad. I went through hell. Like, I saw things that I would never want people to see in their life. If I hadn't seen those things, I wouldn't be able to enjoy life like I do now. I wouldn't be able to sit here and just enjoy the sunshine and listen to music from next door or whatever it is, if it wasn't for that accident. So, yeah, that's why.
Yes.
Just think it's happened for a reason, and might not know why now. I might not know in 6 months or a year's time, but have the belief that it's gonna somehow help me in the future, and that's what it definitely did for me. So.
Yes, you actually mentioned me before we went live that you do kind of like a mantra as well. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, this is. I was going to show you this because, like I said, the tough guy from Bermondsey in South London who sort of planted the seed with the meditation and the mindfulness and so forth about a year before my accident. Well, I continued that. I did my meditation all years to follow. But then I had a really stressful time when I was managing a bar in Lewisham in South London, and I met some people who taught me this, which is faith in the lotus flower, and this has actually propelled my self-development, and I wouldn't be who I am right now again if it wasn't for this practice. I don't push my practice on anyone, and don't get me wrong, it works for me, but it's basically faith in cause and effect, like, you know, faith that if you do good things come back to you, just karma basically. And there's so many different things about Buddhism that I love, and it works for me. Like, there is no God, it's inside you. And yeah, so Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, and thank you to everyone who is in the Buddhist network. Thank you. So, yeah.
So, well, thank you. Me too. Oh my God, I'm speechless. You know what I mean? So yeah, thank you for everyone to watching us, and thank you as well to accept my invitation invitation for this. For this. Oh, it was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, it was so lovely. Thank you.
Yes. So yes, you can see this video on YouTube next week, or maybe this week. It depends when I'm going to put it on, and you can revise it on Facebook anytime. Yes. All
yeah,
right.
can I just say something, Mirjam? I just wanted to say, if anybody wanted to talk to me about anything that I've said, like whether that be SGI Buddhism or mindfulness meditation or going back to a ballet class after injury or anything like that, you can always PM me and I will get back to you and give you any advice that I can. So, yeah.
Sure. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Claire. And
Thank you.
we talk later. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.